up? It's Richie here with Starting Fine Football. Alright, this is Conference Championship weekend. This is a breakdown of all of the Conference Championship games, starting with Friday, the CUSA Championship between the Marshall Thundering Herd and the UAB Blazers. Marshall, they finished, quote-unquote, finished 7-1. Grant Wells, 1,839 passing yards, 16 touchdowns and 9 picks, plus 2 rushing touchdowns. Brandon Knox ran for 820 and 9 touchdowns. Darius Hodge had 6 sacks. They were the number 35 scoring offense in the touchdown, the number 1 scoring defense, and number 2 in scoring total defense in the country. UAB finished 5-3. They had 2 quarterback turn playing, but Tyler Johnson is their main one. 5-9 and 1 passing, 5 touchdowns and a pick. Spencer Brown ran for 740 and a 10. I think he's like top in UAB and one of the top running backs in CUSA history. They had the number 35 scoring defense and the number 18 total defense. This is UAB's 3rd consecutive CUSA Championship game. I do expect this to be a close game. Both defenses are really good, but Marshall has a little bit better of an offense than UAB. He's had Grant Wells, other than his last game where he threw 5 interceptions. Other than that, he's had a really solid year. Johnson's kind of been up and down, and injury-wise, there's Bryson Lucero and Tyler Johnson both at quarterback. But I expect Marshall to actually win this close game and win the CUSA Championship. Alright, then we get the MAC Championship between Ball State and Buffalo. This could be pretty high scoring and a fun game to watch. Ball State is 5-1. Drew Plitt passed for 1,674 yards, 13 touchdowns and 5 picks. Caleb Huntley ran for 437 and 6 touchdowns. He had 1,000 yards last year. Justin Hall, 620, receiving 3 touchdowns. Anthony Ekpe had 5 sacks. This is the number 26 scoring offense and 18 total offense in the country. Where Buffalo, they finished 5-0. This is more about their running game. Their quarterback, Van Treese, is kind of along for the ride. Not bad, 821 passing, 6 touchdowns and a pick. Jarrett Patterson, only 5 games, ran for 1,025 yards and 18 rushing touchdowns this year. And the backup, Kevin Marks, by the way, ran for 510 and 5 touchdowns. Both of them had 1,000 yards rushing last season. This is the number 1 scoring offense in the entire country and the number 10 total offense in the country. Like I said, I expect this to be high scoring. The over-under is 66.5. But Buffalo, between Kevin Marks and especially Jarrett Patterson, watch out for that name. He will be playing on Sundays. I expect Buffalo to win. And they may even win big, even though it's high scoring. They may score 70. They did it a few weeks ago, but give up like 40. So I got Buffalo winning the MAC Championship game there. Alright, Pac12, this was an interesting one. It was going to be USC and Washington. Washington had COVID issues. Now it's Oregon. I think this will be a more fun matchup. USC, they're 5-0. Keaton Slovis, Heisman candidate for next year. Solid. So far in his 5 games, 1,601 yards, 15 touchdown passes, and 4 interceptions. I think he's got 5 touchdowns in each of the last 2 games. Safety Talanoa Hufanga has 4 interceptions. This is the number 23 scoring offense in the country and the number 41 scoring defense. Oregon, they're 3-2. Tyler Shuff, not a bad year so far. 1,389 passing yards, 11 touchdowns to 4 picks, plus 2 rushing touchdowns. This is the number 27 scoring offense, as you would expect. A good offense with Oregon, but not a very good defense. They're 75th in total defense in the country, 59th in scoring defense in the country. I do think this will be a pretty high scoring game, but watch out for Keaton Slovis. I think he goes off again. I think he goes off in a bowl game. I think he sets him up for definite Heisman run next year. So I got USC winning the Pac12 Championship. Alright, the Big Ten Championships is Northwestern and Ohio State. Northwestern is 6-1. They got a really good defense. Peyton Ramsey, who is an Indiana transfer, 1,218 passing yards, 9 touchdowns, 6 picks. Not great passing. Iku Luoto had 4 sacks. Brandon Joseph had 5 interceptions in those 7 games. One of the top interceptors in the country. Ohio State 5-0. Justin Fields, of course, really good on offense. 1,407 passing, 15 touchdowns to 3 picks, plus 239 rushing and 5 rushing touchdowns. Garrett Wilson 572 receiving, 5 touchdowns. Chris Olave 528 receiving and 5 touchdowns. This could be pretty close for a half. Northwestern does have a strong defense and it can force a lot of turnovers. I can see it being maybe 21-10 Ohio State at halftime, but I think Ohio State just has too much offense for Northwestern to keep up with in this game. So we got Ohio State winning the Big Ten Championship. Alright, the Big 12 Championship. Now this will be a pretty fun game. This should be a really high scoring affair. Oklahoma and Iowa State. Oklahoma 7-2. Spencer Rattler, possible Heisman candidate next year. 2,512 yards, 24 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, plus 4 rushing. Isaiah Thomas, 8 sacks. Nick Bonito, 6.5 sacks. Trey Norwood, 3 interceptions. The number 9 scoring offense in the country. Whereas Iowa State finished 8-2. Brock Purdy, 2,272 yards, 17 touchdowns to 6 picks, plus 310 rushing yards on the ground and 4 rushing touchdowns. Breece Hall, one of the best running backs in the nation. In only those 10 games, he ran for 1,357 yards and 17 touchdowns. Xavier Hutchinson, 612 receiving, 4 touchdowns. They have a good tight end in Charlie Kohler. This is the number 29 scoring offense in the country, so 2 really good offenses going on it. Will McDonald, 8 sacks. Jaquan Bailey, 7 sacks. Mike Rose, 4 interceptions. Iowa State is the number 26 scoring defense in the country, so they have basically a top 30 offense, a top 30 defense. And this is going to be high scoring. I kind of want to lean towards Ohio State. I think partially because I want to see it. They haven't won in a conference title game, and I don't know how long. Oklahoma kind of always wins it. Unfortunately for Cyclone fans, I think Oklahoma will come out with the victory here. But I do think it'll be a really, really fun and exciting and a really high scoring game. So I guess I got the Sooners winning that one. All right, now what should be a really good Sun Belt Championship game. The Louisiana Lafayette Raging Cajuns and the undefeated number 9 ranked Coastal Carolina Chanticleers. They played earlier this year, and Chanticleers won an awesome game at the end, 30-27. I expect this to be close again. Louisiana Lafayette, they come in only 9-1. They only lost that one game all year to Coastal Carolina. Levi Lewis has had an awesome career. This year passed for 2,128 yards, 17 touchdowns to 7 interceptions, plus 310 rushing and 5 rushing touchdowns. Elijah Mitchell ran for 751 and 7 touchdowns. Trey Raga 660. Rushing and 9 touchdowns. This is the number 30 scoring offense in the country and the number 27 scoring defense in the country. Raylan Trahan, 4 interceptions. Eric Garror, 3 interceptions. Mekhi Garner, 3 interceptions. They're number 2 in the country in terms of interceptions, which is what they'll need to win this game against a good Coastal Carolina team. Unfortunately, Coastal Carolina has a really good freshman quarterback in Grayson McCall, who's only thrown 2 interceptions all season compared to 23 touchdowns. 2,170, 23 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, plus 476 passing yards, 6 rushing touchdowns there. CJ Marable ran for 844 so far and 12 rushing touchdowns. He had 1,000 yards last year. Javon Haley, 820 receiving yards, 10 touchdowns. Teron Jackson, 8.5 sacks. Jeffrey Gunter, 6.5 sacks. CJ Brewer, 6.5 sacks. DeJordan Strong, 5 interceptions. One of the top interceptors in the country. The number 22 scoring offense and number 11 scoring defense. This is going to be a really fun game. I think it'll be just like the one in regular season, 30-27, something like that. I do think Coastal Carolina I kind of want to go with that upset here. It's got CCU by 3.5. I expect that to be again. I think Coastal Carolina has an undefeated regular season and possibly makes a New Year's Six bowl game. So now we go to the ACC Championship game. This is huge for also playoff implications with Clemson and Notre Dame. This is a rematch of the regular season game. Notre Dame won that. Trevor Lawrence was not there. I said at the time that it would not have made a difference. That's why I'm going to go Notre Dame here. Clemson, 9-1. Trevor Lawrence, 2,430 yards, 20 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, plus 6 rushing. Travis Etienne, 758 rushing, 12 touchdowns. Amari Rodgers, 845 receiving yards, 6 touchdowns. 5 scoring offense in the country, number 15 scoring defense. Whereas Notre Dame, they're 10-0. Ian Book, 2,382 yards, 15 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, plus 465 rushing, and 8 rushing touchdowns. Kyron Williams actually did run for 1,000 yards, 1,011 yards, 12 touchdowns. Javon McKinley, 660, receiving 3 touchdowns. I do think this will be a fun game, just like the last one. I'm going to stick to my guns here. I think Notre Dame may just be a better team overall. Trevor Lawrence is great. I think Clemson gets knocked out of the national championship and out of the playoff picture. I got Notre Dame, who was independent but joined the ACC just for the season because of COVID. I think Notre Dame wins the ACC Championship. All right, the Mountain West Championship, Boise State and San Jose State. Boise State, they were 5-1. Hank Bachmeier, 929 passing, 6 touchdowns, 2 picks. Shane Owen, 6 sacks, the number 14 scoring offense in the country, as Boise State does. San Jose State Spartans were a big surprise. They're 6-0 right now and in the Mountain West Championship game. Nick Starkel, who was a transfer from, I think, Arkansas and A&M before that, has passed for 1,453 yards, 13 touchdowns, 4 picks. Bailey Gaither, 627 receiving yards and 4 touchdowns. Cade Hall has 8 sacks, one of the top sackers in the country. This is number 14 scoring defense in the country with San Jose State. They have a pretty good passing offense too. Both teams have pretty good offenses. Both teams normally have pretty good defenses. I'm going to go with Boise State here. I think they just have too much. Boise State's been here. They've done that. San Jose State, this is new to them. They haven't, I don't think they've gone to a conference championship game in like 100 years or maybe that might be a little exaggeration, but at least in a long, long time. I do expect this to be a pretty good game, but I'm going to go with Boise State, the tried and true blue, coming out with the victory here. Alright, the Southeastern Conference Championship game between Alabama and Florida. Alabama 10-0. They look like the number 1 team in the country. Mac Jones, 3,321 yards, 27 touchdowns to 3 picks. Najee Harris, 1,084 rushing yards, 22 rushing touchdowns. Devontae Smith, 1,327 receiving yards, 15 touchdowns. The number 3 scoring offense in the country, number 15 scoring defense in the country. All those guys I just mentioned, definite Heisman candidates. Smith is up for the Biletnikoff Award for the best wide receiver. Najee Harris is up for the Doak Walker Award for the best running back. Mac Jones is up for all the awards, basically. They're facing Florida. Unfortunately, Florida will not play for a national championship, but they still have a possible Heisman candidate in Kyle Trask. They're 8-2. Trask has 3,717 yards, 40 touchdowns, and only 5 interceptions. Even though they lost last week to LSU, he threw 2 interceptions, but he ended up throwing for 474, 2 touchdowns, and ran for 2 touchdowns. If UF can pull this off, I think Trask wins the Heisman for sure. I'm not sure they'll pull it off. Kadarius Toney, 831 receiving, 9 touchdowns. Kyle Pitts, one of the best, maybe the best tight end in the country, 641 receiving, 11 touchdowns. Like I said, they have the number 10 scoring offense in the country, Florida does, and the number 1 passing offense in the nation. I think this may be close for a little bit, but Florida's defense is pretty terrible. Bama looks just like the best team in the country over. So unfortunately, I'm going to root for the Gators, but I got Alabama winning this championship game. And then the final conference title game of the night, the American Athletic Conference, Tulsa Golden Hurricane and the Cincinnati Bearcats. Tulsa, if anybody knows me, they're 6-1. This is a 3-4 team and a 6-1 body. They got lucky so many times in so many games. They're not this good. Zach Smith, 1,434 yards, 11 touchdowns, 6 picks. Zaven Collins, 4 sacks, 4 picks in there. They have the number 21 scoring defense in the country. Cincinnati's 8-0. They destroyed everybody except UCF. It was a close game. UCF's a good team. They only beat them 36-33. But they destroyed all the other really good offenses in the country. Desmond Ridder, 1,821 passing yards, 16 touchdowns and 6 interceptions, plus 526 rushing and 11 rushing touchdowns. Jared Doak, 660 passing, 7 touchdowns. The number 13 scoring offense in the country and the number 4 scoring defense in the country. I don't think this will be close. Tulsa, I think their luck is running out. Cincinnati looks like a legitimate. I personally think they should be in the top 4 in the playoffs, and if upsets happen, they could be. I think Cincinnati destroys Tulsa in the American Athletic Conference Championship game. Those are my breakdowns of all the conference title games. Check out my other videos for the regular season ones. I do have one more video for this Saturday for a bowl game, so check that one out. Sorry for the long video, but hopefully it was worth it. Good luck to all the teams in the conference title game. Peace.